obviously on to the main event. Without further ado, I'm excited. You know, this guy's taking his time out of his busy day. This guy is a machine. You know, we followed him, myself and Costa, all the way from America, all the way back to the UK. I want to give a bit of an intro into Brandon. I'm not going to do it as well as him, but I'm going to do my best. So you might have already seen from the email, Brandon is a self-made millionaire, founder and CEO of Seamless.ai, which will also send around more information after this. Author of the 7-figure social selling, sales trainer and thought leader of the year, and of course, podcast host of Sales Secrets from the 1%. This guy's an amazing guy. He wakes up at 4 a.m. every day. He hits the gym. He's an all-round absolute machine. This guy is honored to be with us today. So I really do appreciate your time, Brandon. I'm going to hand over to you for your introduction, and then we're going to open it up to the floor, and let's make this happen.
Yeah, thanks everyone for having me. And like I said, Kieran makes me sound way cooler and way better than I ever am. Quick 30-second overview. Came from a super poor family. Mom and dad worked 4 jobs. Mom worked at a grocery store and a bank. Dad worked at a retail store in the U.S. called Macy's, if you ever heard of it, and then construction on the weekends. Luckily, this is when they sold computers at Macy's. Out of the blue, when my dad was making $32,000 at Macy's, he was selling computers at the store. Randomly, a startup sales executive walks up to buy a computer from him. He sells him the computer. The startup sales executive offers him a sales internship for $22,000. $10,000 cut from selling computers at a retail clothing store. He thinks technology is going to be the future. He takes the job. Over the next decade, he goes from sales intern to inside sales lead to account executive to sales director to VP of sales, managing 1,000 people to build the first billion-dollar software company in the world, in the U.S., sorry. So I got to see firsthand over 10 years what it was like to go from poor to rich, no college degree because of sales. And then when I was in high school, I was like, I got to get into sales like my dad did, and went to a college that had the only sales school in the U.S. And I launched a online sales and marketing company for the gambling industry. That company, when I was 18, 19, 20, did $10 million in sales. Then in the U.S., they made online gambling illegal. So I launched a second company called InMobile for text message marketing software. I thought that text message marketing, when there were flip phones, would change the world of marketing and sales forever. And over the next 3 years, I didn't know how to build the list of people I needed to sell to. I didn't know how to do B2B sales as a 22-year-old. I lost $3 to $4 million, everything I owned. I went $100,000 in debt and went bankrupt. Thought the world was over, wanted to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, and then after playing the blame game and making all these excuses, I was like, okay, where did I mess up in this second venture? How did I go from super successful to super failure? And then realized, I've got no money. I got to get into sales. So I ended up joining IBM Interactive, selling for IBM. And when I went and sold for IBM, the Zoom switched. Okay, so decided to get into sales because that was the only way to make any real money quickly after going $100,000 in debt. So I went and sold for the number one company in the U.S. that had the greatest brand recognition, which was IBM Interactive at the time. And then I went and sold for Google. So over the next decade, ended up basically doing $1 to $10 to $20 million deals, and built a software to automate my selling. So went from roughly 0 to $100 million in sales for IBM and Google. And then using my software, I made my first 6-figure commission check in 1 month. I made my first $1 million year, over $1.2 million as a salesperson, working for other people. And I realized I'm not that smart. If I could do it, you could do it. So I took all the money I made. Being an entrepreneur, you go all in. So I went all in on building Seamless.ai. And for the next 3 years of building Seamless.ai, I almost went bankrupt for 3 years, year after year, because building a search engine to find everyone you need to sell to and find their perfect emails and cell phones is really hard. It's the dumbest thing you can build if you are not the smartest people in the world. So long story short, we nailed building the search engine after almost going bankrupt for 3 years. And when we launched the product, we went from 0 to $1 million in sales in less than 12 months. And now we are among the top 100 fastest growing B2B SaaS companies in the world. And it was a lot of luck, a lot of failure, a lot of hard work, and a lot of selling to make all of that a reality.
Wow.
And
Amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I think, guys, I want to thank you for your time, Brandon, because I know you're a very, very busy guy. So this is where we open it up to the floor, guys. I mean, what questions do we want to hand over to Brandon? Who wants to go first? I'm sure we've got 100 questions surely in the room already. Who wants to kick us off?
Yeah, and to open up the floor, guys. So my experience is in sales, marketing, entrepreneurship, and fundraising. From selling over $100 million in sales to raising $5-10 million in venture capital funding, to going almost bankrupt multiple times every year for multiple years. So like any question about sales, marketing, entrepreneurship, fundraising, even personal beliefs, maybe you're struggling, you're stuck, you don't know how to get motivated, whatever. My goal is to maximize value to you right now so that you can leave today and achieve whatever you need to achieve over the next 90 days to 12 months.
Brandon, I'll go first. I've got a question for you. So I know that you have a mixture of in-house and remote sales staff. Well, right now I imagine they're all remote, but from sort of the get-go of Seamless.ai, you had a little bit of a mix. What made you pick that path rather than just go down purely remote or purely in-house inside?
Yes, so I'm from a great question, by the way, Costa. I'm from a city, it's the number 14th largest city in the US, Columbus, Ohio. And there are a lot of startups and software companies that have $100 million to $1 billion in funding. So all of these massive startups with all this money would get all the best sales talent, all the best engineering talent. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a brand new startup. I don't have a lot of money. We're pretty much broke. Where can I find the best talent anywhere in the world for as cost-effective, cheap as possible? So literally it was just like, out of being broke in necessity, it's like, I got to find the best people. I don't care where they're located. And for the first 3.5 years of running Seamless, we were 100% remote. So like engineer in South Carolina, which is like a warm place in the US, and someone in Alaska, someone in Florida, salespeople in New York, New Jersey, Ohio, anywhere I could find them doing anything. If I could teach them my predictable, repeatable 7-figure sales system and they're coachable and they work hard, whatever, then I could empower them to make a big impact. So now that we've gotten bigger to about 75 people, it's roughly 50% remote, 50% local. Our inside sales team, I truly believe, like, these are people right out of college. I could go right out of college and sell and be successful without anyone being there to coach me in real time, being there to manage me in real time. But that's like not 90% of inside salespeople. So I believe, like, for people that are young in their career, they need to have an environment where they can collaborate, work with, be mentored. Anyone that's mid to senior expertise, they can work anywhere.
Yeah. And
you just have to hold them accountable. I've hired a lot of people that still will take advantage of you working remote. When I had my last $100,000 left, I hired one $100,000 CTO engineer that would make or break my success or failure. And he knew that. That engineer ended up taking a second job, burning my 100K and almost killing me and my company. So no matter what, people are going to try to take advantage of you remote. If you feel like they're not working or whatever, they probably are not working.
Yeah.
And you just have to create the accountability and the time tracking and the communication to ensure if you work remote, you want to put in the work right now. If you're managing people that are remote, 80% will do the work, 20% will take advantage of you. And that's just straight fact.
Absolutely. Great answer.
I know Charles just had a follow-up question in regards to that. In terms of the two teams, if you would compare them, both your inside sales team that are in the office and the remote team, who's winning when it comes to generating the most revenue? Would you say that they're head-to-head? Would you say they're more productive remote and earning more money? Who's winning?
It's the person. So, like, you can take two really shitty people and make them remote, and they're still going to produce really bad results. But if you take 5 really good people that are inside, they're going to produce great results. So it's really based on the person. Now, all of my account executives, so all the people that pitch and close deals, my BDMs, my AEs, they are 80% of them are remote. We have 10 AEs, only 2 out of the 10 are local, and they're all producing 7-figure sales quotas. So the AEs, like, again, these are mid to senior level salespeople. You can just empower them. They need to be on demos 5-10 times a day. So go let them be in their home office. Go let them demo. They know what they need to do. They're either hitting their number or they're not. The brand new SDRs I've hired. So I stopped hiring remote SDRs, appointment setters, inside salespeople, who have 0 experience. So that goes to tell you the inside salespeople that have no experience, I want them in the office because I know the likelihood of their failure over time is going to drop. Also, I've seen my inside sales team who produces at a high level in the office. We took everyone remote, obviously, because of COVID. I've seen a lot of the activity drop. So we're still producing great results, but I'm seeing the activity drop for the inside sales team. And we're working really hard to fight against that, keep people motivated, hold them accountable, do the coaching, do the communication. But like, you've got wives or husbands, you've got kids, you've got TV, you've got the news telling you that you're going to die every day. There's so much bullshit coming at you from all angles that it creates distractions. Now, a lot of you guys don't see the distractions because you're here in networks like Growth Stream because you're trying to become the top 1% of the top 1%, right? Unfortunately, everyone's not wired like you to where, they're waking up. They don't want to go to work. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. You try to hire people that are excited, that want to make a lot of money, that want to put in the work, that want to crush it. But, again, that profile of the top 1%, kind of like all of you here today, it's going to be hard to replicate. So you just have to enforce great communication. Also, I recommend getting a time tracking app for anyone on your team. I know a lot of you are business owners or entrepreneurs or sales managers. We use like a time tracking app that literally tracks what you do on your computer, what websites you're visiting, when you go idle. So if you do not do anything on your computer for 20 minutes, we know about it.
Nice.
Now, people could say that's Big Brother. I don't care what you say. Like, my goal is to keep 100% of the people employed. The only way for us to keep 100% of the people at our company employed and to serve, the 100,000 users that leverage our platform is everyone on the team is putting in championship work, championship effort every single day. If one person on the championship team is not putting in the work, we lose the game. Then we have to lay people off. Then we're not serving our 100,000 users. Our company could go out of business. Our investors lose millions of dollars. Our employees cannot provide for their family, their kids, their marriage, their houses, put food on the table, you name it. So I do whatever it takes to ensure that everyone's putting in the work, that everyone's serving our mission to positively impact 1 billion people. And I don't care what a level of accountability that takes. We just do whatever it takes.
What is the app you use, just out of interest for the network, in case they want to look into it?
Yeah, so there's Hubstaff, there's Time Doctor, there's Timekeeper. I use Hubstaff. I've been using it for 5 years. It was the app that allowed me to figure out that the engineer that I hired and went all in on, who was my last saving grace dial loan, if he didn't crush it, we would fail and die. They helped me figure out that I was getting scammed by that partner. And then it also helped me maximize the potential of the 60 plus people that we have today and weed out, luckily 1 out of every 10 employees are going to be bad apples. So it just helps you maximize production of the 10, get rid of the bad apples quickly, so that way you could just serve your mission and serve your people and maximize the impact.
Great. Thanks very much. Now, I know the questions are racking up on the chat. So, Niraj, you were next in and around your question around entrepreneurship. So I'll hand over to you, ask the question.
Lovely. Brandon, thank you so much for your talk. I signed up to your website earlier to get your personal letter every week, and I can't wait. And I'm going to pre-order Secrets of the Top 1%. I'm going to pre-order that. I can't wait to read that either. A lot of the people like Keenan and Shari, I know them through LinkedIn, so I can't wait to read that. Many of us here are business owners. And I set up my own business so I can have less stress and more family time.
I don't think that's true.
That didn't happen, of course. Yep. But the first year and a half was the probably toughest of my life. The last 6 months have been amazing. And I'm now thinking about my future. So what advice would you give to business owners, stroke entrepreneurs who are looking forward to the future? What are like the top tips you would give us all? Because most of us, or many of us here, are business owners.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great question. So my first company that did 10 million in 3 years when I was 18, 50% of that was luck. It was like online poker hit the US, it hit where all of you are from, and everyone was obsessed with it, right? So no matter how little or hard I worked, it was luck that I found the right product to sell at the right time where everyone was getting it. It'd be like selling Zoom video right now. If any one of you guys, any one of us went and sold for Zoom, no matter what, we're going to make a lot of money and we're going to win and we're going to sell more because it's just the right market at the right time. My second company was the longest 3 years, the text message marketing company. 3 years, lost millions of dollars and went 100K in debt. Because the second company was such a failure, when I did my third company, Seamless.ai right now, I said, no matter what, I'm going to be dedicated for 10 years. So no matter what, I'm going to have a decade-long mindset. And I learned that from Jim Collins' Great by Choice and Good to Great. So Jim Collins talks about the 20-mile march in his book, where there were two armies or competition groups that wanted to go to the North Pole. One group marched 20 miles every day, no matter if it was sunny, raining, hot, cold, snowing, whatever. The other group that was marching to the North Pole, if it was nice out, they would go march as hard as possible. If it was cold out, they would just hunker down and stay in camp. Well, over time, the group that marched 20 miles every day, kept marching no matter what. Hard times, good times, easy times, bad times. The group here, everyone in the group that just did, if it was good out, they would do it. If it was bad out, they would just not do anything. The group that didn't do a bunch every single day, they all died. So they were marching to the North Pole. And this is a true story. That the group that just did inconsistent level of effort and activity, they all passed away on their march to the North Pole. The group that did 20 miles every single day, got to the North Pole, was the first to the North Pole, and then marched back. Everyone survived. Everyone was safe. And then they found out about how this other group passed away during the journey, which was really sad to hear. But when I heard that story a long time ago, I'm like, I'm going to do the 20-mile march for 10 years. And no matter how bad it gets, in 10 years, if I do whatever it takes to be successful, if it gets easier in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I win. So I just assumed that it would be like journeying through to the North Pole for 10 years and it would be like hell. And luckily I did that mindset shift because year one, I paid myself $0. I invested millions of dollars into building Seamless, and we got 75% of the way to building the search engine that finds emails and phone numbers for everyone in the world. My software engineers that I hired thought that we were going to build the next Facebook and Google in 6 months and become billionaires. They didn't have the 10-year-long mindset, the 20-mile march mindset that this is going to be a really long journey, that we're going to have to work our asses off for 10 years, that it's going to be bad and painful. And one of my 7-figure habits is you have to embrace the pain. So I knew it would be painful for 10 years. I knew it would be terrible. And that way, if you convince yourself that this is going to be really bad, and then you get excited about how bad it's going to be, nothing is as painful as you really think. You're not surprised. So my engineers first year, they all quit. Now I have, we got 75% of the way there to inventing the light bulb. It'd be like if you try to invent the light bulb and it lit up 75% and then in 30 seconds it disappeared and we have no light. So then I go and hire these engineers again. We have to rebuild, learning what we learned from the first time for the next year. So now I'm on year 2. We rebuild for a full year. By the way, you have to come up with anything that you could sell. So we would sell manual sales lists. I'm like sitting there building manual sales lists in Excel while we're building this thing because we don't have a product to sell. Second year, the engineers, right? The one guy scams me for $100,000. The other engineers, we build this platform. We get 90% of the way there. We turn on the light bulb, which is this search engine that finds emails and cell phones for everyone in the world. The light bulb stays on for 5 minutes and then breaks. Like we're 90% of the way there. We realize that, oh my gosh, this is like trying to build Google or IBM Watson. We're like, holy shit, we're almost there. But now we're 2 years in, we're out of money. We either go all in and like risk our houses and everything else that we've owned, and we do this again for one more year. And basically, if we don't make it, we lose everything. We lose our family, our marriage, our houses, everything, savings, nothing's left. We're completely broke. We got to move in with our family. Or we quit and get a sales job. That was like when I was looking at year 3 of building Seamless, and I was just so obsessed with empowering the world to connect to opportunity. My second piece of advice, so number 1, embrace, do the 20-mile march. So 10-year-long mindset, 20-mile march every day for 10 years. Like that way, everything you accomplish and everything you run into, the challenges, the problems will be easy. Nothing will be as hard as like it will be bad for 10 years. Everything that you experience will be great. And then you'll be grateful for everything that happens. Number 2, embrace the pain. Get excited about how tough the journey is going to get. That way you're never let down. And then number 3, is just, you got to go all in. So when I had to look at, do I go all in and literally worst case scenario, I lose everything I own and I have to move in with my parents. Like that was it. That was the evaluation. Like I lose everything, my house, everything. And if that happens, I just move in with my parents, which is fine because that means I have food and I have cable and I sleep on an air mattress or in one of the guest bedrooms. Like that life is easy compared to the shit that you go through. So we gambled it all third year. And luckily that third year when we were developing the platform, boom, we launched it and we nailed it. The light bulb, you turn it on, it stays on. The search engine, when you type a title at a company, it actually finds people. And then the 10-step AI engine, when you click the find button, it finds everyone's emails and cell phones instantly using the 10-step AI engine. We're like, holy shit, it works. And then like from there, it was like zero to millions in sales in less than 12 months. But no one sees, like people see now that we're one of the 100 fastest growing B2B SaaS companies in the US, but they didn't follow me or know me. 36 months of hell, losing everything, working 7 days a week. I work 7 days a week. I'm 5 years into the deal. I still work 7 days a week. I still wake up at 5 a.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m. Now on the weekends and at nights, I'll still take an hour or 2 off. And on the weekends, like I'm not putting in 18 hours a day on the weekend. I'm putting in 10 to 12. Where like, 5 a.m. to noon, I'll do work. And then noon to 4, I'll hang out with family. And then the evening, I'll do a little work or whatever. So I think, my next piece of advice there is just go all in. And, the fourth piece of advice would be we were able to go from 0 to millions because we were able to build the list, right? Like I built Seamless so that you can connect to anyone in the world. The most important thing that you need to do is have the list of your total addressable market, everyone that you need to sell to. And then number 5, you have to sell to that list every single day, all out. Also, with this economic landscape, you need to be putting in 300 to 500% the amount of activity and work that you did before the virus, before the economic crash, just to produce the same results. Literally, it's like walking into a casino because I'm a gambler, right? I'm a gambler in entrepreneurship. I'm a gambler when I ran that poker company. It'd be like I'm walking into the casino and the day before I lost $1,000. So now I have to figure out how do I get back to making the 1,000 that I lost yesterday and then win money every day to get to our results that we were generating in January before the economy crashed or, maybe for you guys it was sooner than that, whatever, we got to put in 300 to 500% the amount of work and effort and activity just to get to even where we were before the crash. And if you do all of these things, you build the list, you sell the list, you embrace the pain, you go all in, you have the decade-long mindset, you do the 20-mile march, daily, persistent, consistent, repeated actions executed over time every day. Everything I do, I don't have an annual goal. Like I have an annual goal, but I don't track it annually. I don't give a shit about the annual number. I track everything I do daily. Like daily, I set this massive 300, 500, 1000% goal. And what is the daily activity required to hit the 500% goal? And then I reverse engineer. Okay, if I want to do $100 million this year in sales, okay, that's going to take 1,000 deals a day. That's going to take 10,000 appointments a day. To book the 10,000 appointments a day, that's going to be 100,000 leads. Those 100,000 leads are going to take 100,000 cold calls, 50,000 emails, 25,000 LinkedIn social connections, 5,000 LinkedIn lives, text messages, you name it. And then I know, like, that's my annual goal. And then what do I need to do every day? And if you improve 1% every day, there's 260 business days in a year. So if you improve 1% every day per business day, you improve roughly almost 300%. If you improve 2% every day, you're almost over 500%, right? So the goal is just to improve anywhere from 1 to 4% every day. My sales leads, my calls, my emails, my social touches, my demos, my closed won deals. Also track it for all facets of your life. My relationships. Like my personal goal, I believe that you cannot maximize yourself as an entrepreneur if your life is in shambles in other pillars. So I believe you've got your professional pillar. That's like your business, your sales, whatever you do as a marketer, entrepreneur, or salesperson. Then you've got your personal pillar. This is your husband, your wife, your kids, your family. Then you've got your relationships pillar, people that you care about outside of your family. And then you've got your health. I think you could be okay foregoing relationships and just maximizing your personal, your professional, and your health. Just because I've done it, I've pretty much foregone like personal relationships to just go all in on family, work. Like all of you are most important to me. Like I don't have personal everyone is family to me, and like I've just trained my mindset. Like I don't view personal and business. I just don't understand why you would live two different persona lives. Like I am personal, you guys are personal. This is my business. You are business. I think and then all I care about is my family, which is everyone in my network. I believe that those 4 pillars need to be out of a 10 out of 10. Because if you're doing great in business, but you and your husband are fighting every day and you hate each other, like eventually that's going to impact the business. Eventually that's going to impact your health. If you have great family, like personal relationships, you've got a great business or a book of sales, and you eat like crap, and you're unhealthy, and you're obese, and you're prone to a heart attack, that's going to eventually affect your personal and your professional pillar. So you got to have a 10 out of 10. And I believe I wrote this book in 20 days. It's called 7-Figure Habits. Part of the book is about life hacks and habits and mindset beliefs that you change so that you score 10 out of 10 in sales, 10 out of 10 in relationships, 10 out of 10 in family, 10 out of 10 in health. So I realized really quickly, okay, my mom passed away of Alzheimer's when I was 22. And then my wife's mom passed away of cancer. And then I did research and we realized okay, the food that we eat is what is killing us. And then you start to research okay, why do we try to cure all these deadliest diseases when in reality, the thing that causes the deadliest diseases is what we eat? So you got to research all the things that are at the root cause of what makes us or breaks us, and then make the changes. So then I'm okay, I'm going to become vegan, whole food, plant powered.
While we're on that, Brandon, just quickly, so that's a great point, because that's a question that came up. It's something I actually spoke to you about personally as well. A question from Kirsten is, one, how do you align your mindset to your vision on a daily basis, which is something I think you've nailed, both on LinkedIn, both personally, both on all of them pillars that you've talked about. But also, how do you then align that and keep yourself disciplined when it comes to your healthy side of things in terms of your diet to facilitate that? Because I think a lot of us here, and I know personally myself, really struggle when it comes to being dedicated to that healthy side of things in terms of your eating. So sort of two questions there in terms of your alignment of your vision, because you clearly have that on a daily basis. And then number two, how do you keep disciplined when it comes to the eating habits?
Yeah, I think a great question, Kieran, and whoever asked it. So the 4 pillars, I believe that you have to set massive goals for all 4 pillars. So let's go over my professional pillar. 1, I want to positively impact 1 billion people. Like, that's got nothing to do with me making commission. My mission and my purpose is to positively impact 1 billion people. That's a massive goal. That's a massive vision. I also believe to support that mission, we launched President's Club. So we launched a club globally for salespeople, marketers, and entrepreneurs, where if you make over $1 million in sales, you win this award that costs thousands of dollars for me to print and produce. I came out with that award as like a way to be like, okay, if I want to positively impact 1 billion people, how do I track that? Okay, well, if I get 10,000 people into the 7-figure club, President's Club, that means that they made X, and then that impacts 10 more people out of that group, you name it. So like, you got to have a big mission for all these things. So professionally, I want to positively impact 1 billion people. I want to get 10,000 people in this 7-figure President's Club. Also, I want to become the greatest salesperson of all time, selling 1 million. So that was like a personal, professional goal. I'm like, okay, I'm watching the Michael Jordan documentary, which is on ESPN here in the States. And he's like, I want to become the greatest basketball player of all time. And I'm like, damn, I never told myself that. Like, I always thought I wanted to become like one of the best salespeople in the world, but I never took a stake in the ground. Like, I want to become the greatest salesperson of all time. That's a new goal of mine, is like positively impact 1 billion people, get 10,000 people in the 7-figure club. And now my 3rd professional goal is become the greatest salesperson of all time. How do you KPI track that? Okay, well, if I sell $1 million a day, every day for 365 days, I feel like that would be a good way to say you did it. So now I've got a massive revenue sales monetary target as well. By the way, I have no money, no team to actually get to $1 million a day. Like, I'd have to 50x my current team to do $365 million in a year. So these are just professionally massive goal. Also, my health goal was I want to get to 7% body fat. Like, this is just like a crazy, stupid goal. It's like, you know, I want to have 7% body fat, and I want to have, I want to live the longest out of any human that has ever lived. Those were my 2 health goals: 7% body fat and the healthiest person in the world. So then when you set these big goals, and by the way, when I made that goal, I was like 50 pounds heavier than I was now, because I was selling for Google, eating on the road, drinking on the road, at events. Like, I weighed 200 plus pounds. I was really bad out of shape because I just didn't have these habits and these goals, and then created the daily execution plans to do that. So then once you set these goals, relationships, I want to become the #1 world's best husband. I made that goal when I was dating my fiance, and I wasn't even married. Like, I'm going to assume responsibility for everything good and bad in my life. I want to become the #1 husband in the world, even if I'm wrong. Like, if my wife Danielle, my fiance Danielle, is like, you know, you're never present when we talk, or you never take time off, or you never do the dishes or garbage, you know, whatever it may be that I get yelled at for, which is a lot because my wife is a saint. I just assume responsibility for it all, and I don't put blame on her. I'm like, what am I doing wrong that I can improve every day to become the world's best husband, even if I don't want to do it? I don't want to put away my clothes. Like, shit, I should be grateful that my wife is even doing my laundry. I remember when I was in college and I had to do it, and I would just like just buy new clothes instead of doing the laundry because I was running a company that was doing 10 million. So, you have to change your mindset to be grateful, set massive goals, assume responsibility, and then figure out, okay, what are the daily habits to reach that massive goal? So the health goal, become the healthiest person that lives forever, longer than any human being in the world, and 7% body fat. You just start to research like, okay, what are the things that cause people to gain weight versus lose weight? What are the daily habits that I can create? So, what did I do? I was like, okay, I believe that heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes are all the 5 deadliest diseases in the US are all caused by the food that we eat. The dairy, the meat, the processed foods, and the processed sugars. So after doing all the research to become these things, I figure out, okay, shit, what do I need to cut out of my life? I loved meat. I used to eat ribs twice a week, steaks 4 times a week. Like, I would eat meat 6 times a week. I would eat out every meal. But guess what? Like, if I keep living that life, I will die. Like, with a high degree of confidence, the data statistically says I will get heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and I will die sooner than living forever. So then what do you have to do? Okay, well, I don't want to give up steak. I love steak. Okay, well, do you want to be the healthiest person that lived the longest out of anyone in the world? Because based on the populations globally that live the longest, this is the diet that they have. They don't do this. They don't do this. They don't do this. So then you just figure out, like, Tony Robbins. I got to meet with Tony Robbins this year. And, like, I was giving him a hard time because he coaches Mark Benioff. I told Tony Robbins, I'm like, hey, Tony, like, I know you coach Mark. I was like, tell Mark he's thinking too small. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, remember when you were coaching Mark, Mark would tell you that he wants to build $100 million software company that would change the world of relationships forever. And Mark's like, yeah. He's like, I talk about that all the time. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going to build a company that does 365 million, $1 million a day. And we're going to be the greatest platform of all time. And he started to laugh. And I was like, what's the fastest way for me to do that? He's like, you just have to model other people that have done what you want to do, who have achieved the success that you want to achieve. So the reason why I talk about the health thing is like, okay, what are the global populations that have lived the longest with the least amount of diseases? Boom, you can find that data. Next, what do they do? What do they eat? What are their behaviors? What is their lifestyle? Boom, next. When I wanted to build a search engine that found every single person in the world with the current title at the current company and then researched using AI, perfect emails and cell phones for everyone in the world, I'm a salesperson. Like, statistically, the odds at the casino will tell you Brandon Bornancin, the salesperson, will never be able to invent or build that product. I pitched 337 venture capitalists, 337 VCs, 297 all told me no. And they told me no because I'm a salesperson, because I'm not an engineer, because I have no background of success. But okay, what did Sergey and Larry do to build Google? What did the founders of Yahoo do? What did AOL Search, the people that built that search engine, do? And then you go find, like, my big goal. What did other people do that were successful? Then it's just like success leaves clues. They give you the roadmap. Like, to drive from New York to San Francisco in the US, there's a road to go from point A to point B. You just got to figure out what's the map, what's the road to get you there. The Autobahn, like, I want to drive down the Autobahn 1,000,000 miles per hour in a Ferrari. Like, what's the road to do that? And then you just model the people that are most successful. And the hardest part, though, is sacrifice, daily commitment. I did not want to give up eating steak. I did not want to give up eating ribs and lobster, but, like, boom. It's like, what's important to you? Your goals or instant gratification?
Yep, I think that's a great point. So just on that, Brandon, we're starting to run out of time, so I don't want to go too over. I know guys are busy. Just a final question for you, Brandon, because I know you're giving these guys an amazing session. In terms of the last question, we've got a couple of minutes. In terms of the flip side to that, you're obviously doing amazing things. What do you do to switch off?
So, like, you know, and this is what I get crucified for this all the time. Because they're like, you know, work-life balance, 4-hour work week. And, you know, I call out Tim Ferriss pretty aggressively that the 4-hour work week is bullshit. I call out aggressively that there is no get-rich-quick scheme. Because the problem is, then you've got people like Niraj, you know, who's building an amazing company, but because there's all these people out there telling you that if you want to get financial freedom, if you want to live the life of your dreams, you have to start your company and it'll be way easier than anything you've ever experienced. When in reality, it's 10 years of hell. And if it gets easier, then you just got lucky throughout that period. You know, my advice for how do you turn it off is, you know, when you love your mission and you love your purpose, like do something that you love. And I fight with my father-in-law every day on this. Not every day because I don't talk to him that much. But like when I was building Seamless for 3 years, he would crucify me. Brandon, why are you working so hard? Brandon, you're going to be on your deathbed wishing you didn't work as much as you did. Well, like I have this insane obsession with empowering the world to connect to opportunity. In one instant, you can connect with anyone in the world to build a relationship to change the world forever. Maybe it's a new customer, a new employee, a new investor, a new business partner, a new engineer, a new salesperson recruit. Like, I am obsessed. No matter what I do every day, that's all I want to do is empower the world to connect to opportunity and build Seamless to do that. If I didn't do that, like I got so all in on my purpose and my mission and my vision that if I would do anything else, I would feel like I would end up on my deathbed with regrets. So my first piece of advice is find something that you would die for. And a lot of people also, like the people that are about mental awareness, they hate when I say that because they're like, oh, now you're recommending that if you fail, then you commit suicide. I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, go all in to where like you would take a bullet for what you're doing every single day because you love it so much that you wouldn't want to do anything else in the world. And then you just live life so fulfilled. Like every day I work 7 days a week, but I don't wake up Saturday and Sunday, oh man, I got to do this thing and this thing. I hate it. I'm so all in on what I do where every day I feel blessed that I get to do what I have to do to positively impact 1 billion people, to get 10,000 people into the 7-figure President's Club, to where I don't focus on, I don't believe happiness. Like happiness, I'm happy when I eat pizza and cake, okay? But like if I did that every day, eventually I would get sick and unhealthy. Like that a state of happiness is like short-term instant gratification. I believe that you need to be obsessed with a big mission and growth. Every day I can go all out and I'm just obsessed with like, can I improve 1% every day? Can I grow? You want to enjoy the journey and you want to enjoy growing and improving and failing and then getting better and getting back up and doing it again smarter. So like when I'm with friends, when I'm with family, you know, I'm still thinking about everything, but like then you turn it off and you relax. And like I used to use alcohol. I'm 19 days in, no alcohol. So like one of the only ways that I could turn it off, and I was never a big drinker, I would only have 1 or 2 drinks on the weekend. But again, like the steak deal, if I drink on the weekend, I notice my productivity decreases by 1 to 4% every day that I drink. Okay, well, there's 104 weekends. So that means if I drink every weekend to turn off and relax, now I'm going to go back 100 to 300 to 400%. If you take 104 days and I decrease 1% during those days, I go backwards. So like you just have to mentally train your mind to be able to turn off. So now like instead of drinking on the weekends, I'm doing the hard thing. I'm making the sacrifices. Okay, I'm going to cut out alcohol. I have to figure out during immense amount of stress how to have the emotional intelligence and wherewithal to handle the pressure, handle the anxiety, handle the fear, lower myself, get to a mental state where I could just relax and enjoy whoever I'm with, wherever I'm at. And I'm still working on it. It's really hard. But like, you know, you just research how do people do that. Success leaves clues. Model those who have been successful. And you'll be able to figure out how do I run a company or how do I become the top 1% in sales while also turning it off when I need to turn it off.
Right, that's it. I'm cutting him there because he's giving you guys too much value. So we're obviously starting to run out of time. So this is where it gets a bit interesting. There's a couple of questions I know that have been left in the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them questions at the end of this session out of the chat, and we will get them answered by Brandon separately because we are starting to run out of time, and he's a very, very busy guy. We're very lucky to get this opportunity. So just to mention a few quick questions, what are already in there. Charles, you already asked if Seamless.ai was available in the UK. It is. You can go ahead and create a free account. I'll also send around an email after this with a link to Seamless.ai where you can also download it and log in and create your account. What we'll also do as well is anybody interested, we can get you connected with one of Brandon's team. As Brandon's done absolutely perfectly, thanks very much for that, Brandon. You were just about to talk about that as well. He's put on the screen, hopefully you can see the 7-figure social selling with over 400 pages of proven social selling scripts. This guy is a machine at social selling. No one can come close. I assure you, I've read all the books. I follow all the people. This guy is a machine. What I've also gone ahead and done, as I promised, is purchase 10 books initially, and I'm then going to buy another 10 for our network. And I'm going to hand them out free of charge to everybody involved in our networking group on a regular basis. So what I'll ask you to do after this call is send me an email with why you believe you should have that book and what you're going to do with it. Me, Costa, and Brandon are going to work together to pick the top 10, and we are going to get it delivered to your door. They arrive with me on Tuesday. So if you're interested in getting that book completely free of charge, please send me a message and let me know, and I'm going to get them across to the network. They're normally £15 to £20 on Amazon. So we're giving away this ultimate value free of charge to our network. As well as that, guys, I just want a round of applause for Brandon before he has to head off, because I think this guy has been incredible today. So again, thank you very much, Brandon. Anyone who doesn't follow Brandon on LinkedIn, I advise you to go follow him. I've followed him now for around 3 years, and just the content that he puts out on a daily basis is unrivaled. So I'm really excited to have you, Brandon. Again, thank you very much for your time. And
really just want to leave you guys with this. I'm not smart. I didn't have a great background. I was an average student coming from a low-class family. And, I believe that all of you are amazing. All of you are unstoppable. All of you can do anything you want in this life. And you just have to be willing to put in the work and do whatever it takes and never quit. And I remind myself that every day. I'm amazing. I'm unstoppable. I can do anything. I'm amazing. I'm unstoppable. I can do anything. You guys are amazing. You are unstoppable. You can do anything. Everyone is dealing with a lot of challenges and a lot of failures. We've all done it. I fail 1,000 times a year or more. Just get back up and keep going. Whatever you're doing in sales and marketing and entrepreneurship, everyone, there's so many answers out there. There's so many smart people out there. There's so many consultants out there, mentors out there. Whatever you need to do, just don't quit. Keep giving your all, and you can do it. If I can do it, if I can build multiple $1 million companies from no background, not smart in school, that means that you can do it. You can do it smarter, you can do it bigger, you can do it better, you can do it faster than I ever could. And that's really what I leave with you. Like, anyone that was ever successful is no smarter than you or me. They just figured out answers and then executed those answers. And just always be searching for the answers and never give up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great message to leave on, guys. And I think everyone who's new to this group, and both the people who are here regular, every week we bring on people just like Brandon to give us all of this value. So again, next week we are going to be joined by one of the top Premier League football players. We've also got a tennis player who will be joining us the week after, and we're going to continue to blow up the value. Me and Costa have worked very hard this week. Brandon's a very hard guy to nail down, and this guy came straight back to me and said, yes, this guy was amazing for us and we want to give back. So guys, please make sure you write to me with the message on why you believe you deserve that book for free. I'm going to speak with Brandon. He's going to pick them 10. We're going to get them out to you. We do them 10. I'm going to book another 20. I'm going to pay for all of the books for this whole network to get Brandon's book, because I think it's one of the best books I've ever read. So please, 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 after this call, send me an email. If you don't have my email, message me on LinkedIn. I hope this has been amazing for everyone as part of the network. Next week, we're going to keep blowing it up. So if you haven't joined before, keep joining, keep connecting, friends, family. Let's make this happen. I also want to share a quick win this week of a personal message for me. I don't know if you all follow me on LinkedIn, but I was actually featured in the Eastern Daily Press, one of the biggest newspapers in the UK, and actually one of the biggest from my hometown in Norwich. We generated over 10 million. Last week, me and Costa, who is on this call as well as my co-founder, hit the record on 10 million in revenue. I went from dyslexic to one of the most successful sales guys in the UK, winning hundreds of awards this year. So please, if you're any in doubt, jump on a call with me, jump on a call with these people in the network. There is success stories happening, and I think Brandon's proven that, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you all very much for joining, and I will send you an email after this. But again, anybody who wants that book, please make the effort to send me an email, because I'm not just going to hand it out for free. And I'm going to personally pay with my own money to make sure you get that book, all right? So again, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. It's been an amazing session with Brandon. I'm getting ready to make some more sales, so I'm going to leave you all. Enjoy your weekend. And Niraj, I hope you like the new haircut, all right? Take care, guys.
Well done. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you. Well done, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Guys.
Good work.
Brilliant.